Hi everyone, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Loryn Lesser and we are going to be filming today some hacks to try and make your holiday season a little bit more stress-free. We're actually going to be doing some gefilte fish hacks. I have some really great memories of all of my aunts in the kitchen bustling around. I never saw the fish in the bathtub, but my mom used to talk about coming home from school and finding the fish in the bathtub. I do remember them grinding the fish, mashing the fish, making them into the balls. I remember my uncle, my great uncle, sitting in the corner with a pot and a scraper and with fresh horseradish and the tears running down his face. This is the doctored gefilte fish. So you will open it, obviously, pour it into the colander and let it drain for a little while. And while it's draining, what you're going to do is take a large whole onion and peel it, and then you're going to take some carrots and you're either going to slice them or you're going to use baby carrots that you need to wash off. You're going to slice some celery. By the time you've done all that, you will, because you're near your sink, you will lift your colander full of fish out, put it in your sink, and add your vegetables to the pot. You'll put it on the oven on a slow boil. You'll let it boil, and when it comes to that slow boil, you'll turn the heat off. Carefully take that onion out so that you don't burn yourself, and then you will carefully put your fish back in piece by piece. It is gonna totally change the taste of what's in this jar. This, my friends, is Mom's helper. This is frozen gefilte fish. Here's the trick. It is not easy to take this paper off. It's a wax kind of a paper. You have to take it off in your sink under warm running water. I'm gonna measure for you guys. Technically, I don't. I eye it. The reason we don't have my grandmother's recipes is because everything was a pinch of this and a drop of that and a little bit of this. So we're just gonna take leftover Shabbos wine and we're gonna pour it over the whole thing. You can use grape juice, paprika, Mrs. Dash. Always look, because if you're like me, you forget which ones are sprinkles and which ones are pours. That's it, we're done. We're gonna put 2 layers of aluminum foil on this, and we're gonna stick it in our oven at whatever temperature we're cooking other things at. You're gonna take it out, you're gonna chill it. So make it a day or 2 before. I'm gonna show you how to freeze it and then slice it. So this time, I've taken the fish and I have defrosted it, and it defrosts pretty quickly. I'm very into expediting and hacks and making it easier. And we're just gonna scrape this out because it is defrosted. We don't need to put it under running water. I am going to take my measuring cup and I am going to take olive oil. You can use any oil you want. I like olive oil. And I'm going to spray my cup. Because then I'm gonna pour honey in and it's gonna make my honey come out a whole lot easier. And that's a nice hack. Molasses, Caro syrup, honey, maple syrup. Look at that. Again, I'm measuring. Typically I wouldn't measure. I am going to add some basil. Normally I would have a piece of wax paper or something here. I would measure over. I don't put my spoon in because I do keep kosher. These are parve. So there's 1 basil and tarragon. And then we're just gonna mix this all up. Now it may not look wonderful right now, but when it bakes, oh my gosh. This is a good recipe to double. And perfect. I mean, for Rosh Hashanah, honey, what can go wrong? And what we're doing here is we're making memories. Yes? Your kitchen is your memory place. It's where you're creating them. The table, the dining room table, is where your family will remember it all. All right, it may not look wonderful, but I'm telling you, sprinkle it around a little bit. And then, because it's Rosh Hashanah, if you're cooking for Rosh Hashanah or any other holiday, we're gonna just drizzle a little more honey on there. Now when this bakes up, and this we're gonna bake uncovered, but you wanna watch it because you are putting honey on there. It's gonna come out looking like a potato kugel. When I take my fish out, not this one, but when I take the other ones out and I plate it, I'll put the vegetables around it, and then I'll also put some pomegranate arrows on there for the commandments, that those are the number of seeds in the pomegranate, so we'll sprinkle those around also. And at this time of year, I use a pomegranate garnish as well. I mean, I come from a huge extended family. I remember one holiday, my dad looking around the room and saying, there's only 30 people, where is everybody? And one of my aunts saying, don't worry about it, they're coming. They're just, a little bit later. I have one set of candlesticks that were my grandmother's. I don't know if she brought them over from Europe, but it's quite possible that she did. My mother then used them every Shabbos, and now I have them, and God willing, my granddaughter will use them when I pass them on to her. I also have my father's mother's candlesticks, which she presented to me when I was old enough, and then I have a set of candlesticks that I've had for 50 years that my other grandmother gave to me, directly to me. I am going to reverse remove this, obviously, and then I'll show you how to wrap it up. But notice, first of all, that this is in a freezer bag. It is in a 2-gallon freezer bag. In some of the stores, the box for these is actually called a challah bag because a large loaf of challah will fit in here. When you're baking your fish, you can bake it 2 ways. If you want a crusty, firm top, which is what we have here, then I've done this both ways for you. A crusty, firm top, then what you do is you don't cover your fish. You put it in the oven for your first 20 to 30 minutes. It will crust up, then put your aluminum foil or your wax paper and aluminum foil on. Cover the whole thing and finish cooking it that way. That way you don't need to worry about it burning, especially if you've got sweeteners in there. If you want it to look more traditional, which would kind of be like this in here, then you cover it the whole time. I wish you very happy holiday season, and b'te'avon, happy eating.